Welcome to the first lesson of MAT 2LB booklet number 1, Rounding and Converting. We are at lesson number 1, Rounding. So let's talk a little bit about rounding. Rounding is what we do to a number in order to better perform estimations and quick calculations rather than dealing with all the details. Rounding lets us calculate something pretty quickly. So rounding itself is a procedure. So let's take a look at example number 1. Which says, round $167.34 to the nearest dollar. The first step is to find the place value that you're rounding to. So in $167.34, we're asked to find the dollar place value. Dollars are ones, so that means we're looking at 7. The second step is to look at the number after the place value you're rounding to. So that means to the right of the place value that we want to round to. So in this case, we want to round to dollars, which is a 7. We look to the number after it, which means further to the right. That's going to be a 3. Now here's the trick with rounding. When you're rounding to a particular place value, all the digits after that place value are essentially being erased. We're saying they're not very important for our purposes. So in this case, if you find that the number after the place value you're rounding to is less than 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then what you're going to do is round down, which is a little bit misleading because what it really means is the number that you're going to be rounding stays the same. So in this particular question, with 167.34, we look to the 3. The 3 is less than 5, which tells us that we are going to be rounding down, which means leaving the 7 as it is. So we would write our final answer as 167, and everything that came after the 7, the number we're rounding to, we're not going to bother to write it at all. So therefore, the final answer is 167. Now, let's take a look at a second example to explore what happens if the number after the value we're trying to round to is bigger than 5. Example number 2. Round 123.677 to the nearest cent. First step's the same. What we're going to try to do is find the place value we're rounding to. In this case, we're being asked to round to the nearest cent. That's hundredths. That's 2 places after the decimal. So we are being asked to look at this first 7 right here. Second step, same as before. We're going to look to the number after the place value we're being asked to round to. This happens to be another 7 in example number 2. Now, if the value of the number after the place value you're rounding to is greater than or equal to 5, so it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we're going to round up. And this time it's a little less misleading because what it actually means is the number that you are rounding will go up by a value of 1. So let's take a look at this. 7 is larger than 5. And therefore, we are going to round, so we'll write down all the other numbers, 123.6. Now the 7 we're being asked to round to, because it's followed by a second 7, we'll be bumping that 7 up to an 8. And that's the procedure. Our final answer then is 123 and 78. Nope, 68. At this point, what I'd like you to do is take an attempt at question number 1, which is round 45.67 to the nearest dollar. So I'd like you to hit pause in the video now. When you've got it, then we'll have a look at our answer. Okay, so you've tried to come up with the answer for rounding 45.67 to the nearest dollar. Let's repeat the procedure that we did before. We're being asked to round to the nearest dollar. This is the dollar right here. It's 45. 5 is the dollar place value. We look to the place value after the 5, which is a 6. And if it is 5 or greater, we are going to round up. And if it is less than 5, so 4, 3, 2, or 1, or 0, we're going to leave it the same. In this case, we have 45 followed by a 6. 6 is bigger than 5, so we are going to round that up to $46. And as I said in the first example, everything after the place value we're rounding to, we just don't put it down anymore. We're saying it doesn't matter. I'd like you to pause here again and try number 2, rounding $678.345 to the nearest cent. Give this one a try, hit pause. When you've got it, click back and we'll see how you did. Okay, so you've given this one a try. Let's go through the procedure one more time. $678. We are, and sorry, decimal 345 rounded to the nearest cent. So we find the place value we're rounding to. That's going to be cents. That's 2 decimal places. That's going to be a 4. We look to the number that comes after the place value that we're being asked to round to. This time it's a 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 will cause us to round up, which means the digit that we are rounding to will go up by 1. So 678, 345 will become 678 decimal 35. The 4 goes up by 1. If you've been getting these answers here correct, fantastic. What I'd like you to do now is hit pause one final time and try number 3 and 4 on your own. When you've got them, hit unpause and we'll see if you got the right answers. Okay, you're back from working on number 3 and 4. Let's have a quick look. $99.19 rounded to the nearest dollar. There's our dollar right there. We look to the place value after it, which has a 1. 1 will not result in us rounding up. We are going to, therefore, leave 99 the same. So $99.19 rounded to the nearest dollar will give us $99. Remember, all the stuff after it, we're not concerned with any longer. And for the last one, 12.452, being asked to round to the nearest cent. There's our 5 right there. We look to the place after it, the digit after the place value, which is a 2. 2 will tell us that we are not going to bump 5 up. We are going to keep it the same. So we are going to have a final answer of $12.45. At this point, if you have any troubles, it would be a good time to start this lesson over again. If you're rocking and rolling on this one, now's the time to head over to the worksheet. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in lesson 2.